Today's lesson 5.4 is all about coordinate geometry. So today our goal is to plot ordered pairs and find midpoints and endpoints of line segments on our grid. So the first thing that we're going to do is just review how to find these things. It's important to remember that when I am writing down an ordered pair, I always write down my x coordinate first and then my y. So I'm going to write these up here for us to remember today. All right, so moving on, let's start with coordinate A. Coordinate A, if I look at it, and this is counting by 2 on our grid here, but it goes over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's my x-axis. So my first coordinate will be 8. That's my x. Now I have to look at how many it goes up on my y-axis. I'll label those even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my ordered pair for point A on the grid is 8, 8. Hopefully that makes sense to you. We're going to look at coordinate B now. Coordinate B, doing our x first, so I can even look. I don't have to go count every time, but I can see that it's at -8. And then I can also see that I go up y is +8. All right, now looking at coordinate C, again I can see my x-axis, that's my horizontal axis, is going into the negatives. It's at -4. So I need to write down -4 for x. Again, it's always important that we write down x first. So now looking at my y is my vertical axis going up and down, and it looks like I go down twice, -2. So there's my C, my ordered pair for point C. Now for D, our final one, I'll change my pen color here. I can see that it is over 2 on my x-axis, and then I do go down into the negatives. I go down on my y-axis to -4. Turning to page 175 now, we're going to take a look at this. You also will be doing page 174, but that's what we reviewed at the beginning of the lesson, so we're not going to look at that one together. Okay, the names of polygons consist of letters that name the vertices written in consecutive order. For example, the square at the right may be named square ABCD, following that order, BCDA, CDAB, or DABC. So basically, you're just looking at your vertices, and wherever you start, you're going in order to name your polygon. And polygon, remember, is just any normal shape that we have. The points shown on the grid below represent vertices of polygons. And vertices, that's our point that connects it, so we can think of that as a corner as well. 1 or 2 vertices are missing for each polygon. Plot and name the missing vertices on the grid, and then draw each polygon. List the number pairs for the missing vertices. So it's important to know before we look at this that it's very possible that we could have several correct answers. So there's no one perfect answer for a lot of these. There are different places we could plot them and it could still be correct. Okay, we're going to look at scalene triangle ABC. So my lines aren't going to be super neat. You should be using a straight edge to connect them. I know that I'll connect points A and B. And then to make a scalene triangle, remember that's a triangle that has no equal sides, no equal angles. So I need to find a place to plot that. So I'm going to pick -2, 9. My points are a little difficult to see on here. And then I'm going to connect those dots. I'm also going to label this C. And now up here is where I need to write down that my point that I plotted was -2, 9. So if you're still a little confused, we're going to do another one. We do have to know what these shapes are. So if you're confused at what a right triangle or isosceles triangle, what those are, you're going to need to look that up today before you plot those points. We're going to keep moving. Okay, so number 2, right triangle DEF, which is also an isosceles triangle. Now, an isosceles triangle, we see 2 equal sides, and if it's a right triangle, we know that we have a 90-degree angle in there somewhere. So again, we know we're connecting points D and E, and my lines are not straight. You should be using a straight edge. Now, for F, we know that we need to have an equal side, so DE measures 3 squares down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw over 3 spaces to 1, and that's 1 right there. You can kind of see that it lines up with it. And then I'm going to draw my point right there. That will be point F. Now I'll connect F and D. So now I have a right triangle, and this side is the same length as this side. You don't need to draw those arrows on there, but that's just showing that we do have a right triangle, which is also an isosceles, and I plotted point F at 1 and then 6. So that's what I'll be writing down here. For your square, you're going to try to do that yourself. I'm going to give you a hint here. You're going to need to plot 2 points, I and J. They give you those, and you're already using G and H. Now, if you're plotting a square, making sure that you have equal sides, right angles, that's what I'll be looking for. So actually, we should have some similar answers for that one. Moving on, you'll do a rectangle. Now, when it's looking right here and it says LM equals 2 times KL, that's a little bit confusing for some people. It just means that when I'm plotting point LM, let's say that that's going to be here and go up. No, I don't have a point that I'm plotting. That needs to be 2 times the length of KL. And KL, you can see, is 2 squares long. So make sure that that side is going up 4. There's a hint for you. Isosceles triangle, I want you to look that up. Parallelogram just means all sides are parallel, so we're pretty flexible with that one. A rhombus is a parallelogram, but all of our sides, whoops, I don't want to cross it out for you. All of our sides have to be equal as well. So make sure you're remembering that. And then again, if you are not sure what these shapes look like, you need to look it up. You'll be plotting a kite too. So if you have any questions, make sure you ask. I want to see what you can do on your own. This is kind of fun, gives you a little creativity. We started our first 2 together, and let's look at our assignment. Today, your assignment, you have 3 math journal pages, pages 174, 175, and then your math box is 177. And then when you go on IXL, you'll be plotting ordered pairs with skill X1 and X2.